everything. But so we're going to be facilitating questions. If you have any questions for Neil, then you can leave them in the chat. I'm going to kick it off by one of the ones that we got on one of the ones we got on social media, which is kind of a pivot from what you talked about. But people are very curious about what you're reading right now and maybe what other media or information that you're consuming during this crisis.
What information am I consuming during the crisis?
What are you reading? What are you enjoying? What media are like what?
Yeah, I can't say I'm enjoying, but what I'm reading is I'm on the Twitter feed. I don't use Twitter a lot, except I'm on the Twitter feed for a lot of great epidemiologists and virologists. So I'm following their feeds and getting their commentary. So what's happening in science now, and this is really important for the general public to think about, is what you're seeing is science unfolding at a rapid pace in real time. The kinds of discoveries we're used to seeing happening over months and years are happening now over days and weeks. So that time frame is compressed. So as a general public, we're seeing kind of the nitty gritty of the dirty laundry of how science works. It's not the dirty laundry, it's kind of the fuel of how we work. What we do is we collect data, we make hypotheses. A high fraction of those initially are going to be wrong, but we follow the data. We try to say, okay, what's the evidence we need to separate, to distinguish between these hypotheses? And so people are seeing that right now. And I think there's a lot of confusion, right? Because you're seeing science happening in real time. You're seeing one study that says something and then another study that says something entirely else, something entirely different. But that's how science works, right? We work collecting data, making the best hypotheses we have at the time. And we realized to be able to distinguish these, we maybe need to collect better or new data. And that's exactly the frame we're in now. So I follow a lot of scientists on Twitter, quite a few of them, which are really good. I think, this is a time period when we're seeing the rise of the great science journalists. That is the science journalists who are on the coronavirus beat are just truly stunning. Carl Zimmer at the New York Times, Amy Maxman at Nature, Ed Young for Atlantic. I mean, I could go on and on. Laurel Helmuth at the Washington Post. There are some truly remarkable journalists, and these people are doing just an incredible effort. And they're putting out 3 or 4 articles a week of such high quality, and they're tempered, very tempered. So if you want to really get a balanced view, read the great science journalists, and you'll see them in the Washington Post, New York Times, Atlantic, and elsewhere.